msikilizaji, katika toleo yangu ya leo. Huku leo nimekuandalia taarifa maalum kuhusu ukuzaji wa mti. Tutakuwa naye mwite kasisi Profesa Lawrence Njoroge akitueleza kwa undani umuhimu wa kupanda miti, hasa mti aina ya warburgia ugandensis ambayo imepatikana kuwa ya manufaa zaidi kwetu sisi kama binadamu. Niite mimi wako Mboya Victor Omondi.
Tunafika katika afisi ya kasisi Profesa Lawrence Njoroge wakati wa adhuhuri mnamo tarehe 3 mwezi wa Mei mwaka 2017. Anaonekana mchangamfu na kabla kuanza kumhoji kama wanahabari chipukizi, tayari anaanza kutueleza juu ya mti aina ya warburgia ugandensis kwa kupitia vitabu vyake viwili alivyotayarisha kabla ya kukuja kwa sisi. Tunakosa la shaka ila kwanza kunata video yake akitueleza juu ya mti yenyewe, kwa kuwa tunaelewa fika ya kuwa mtu kiwango cha kasisi profesa, msemo yoyote kutoka kwake ni habari kwetu na kwa wapenzi wasikilizaji wenzetu.
The warburgia ugandensis. I know that in areas where I have planted it, the moors have disappeared. They might attack other trees, other indigenous trees, but they do not attack the warburgia ugandensis. It is a very, very interesting tree. And as I said earlier, I am a planter of indigenous trees. I have planted them in the Githunguri uplands area. I am right at the present moment planting trees in Karangaita, Thika, on a small piece of land that the university helped us acquire. And there I have made sure to plant 50 warburgia ugandensis trees. And it is a very, very useful tree. And as I mentioned earlier, Muthaiga in Nairobi has a lot of warburgia ugandensis trees. It is prevalent in that area. And that is one of the reasons why it is called Muthaiga. In fact, if you go to the forest just next to Muthaiga, you will be able to identify the warburgia ugandensis tree. And of course, on our campus, on our JKUAT'S campus, it is one of the most prevalent, one of the commonest trees. We have it just outside of the main assembly hall. You have the warburgia ugandensis, and in many, many places, the former Vice Chancellor here, Professor Mishieka, was very, very insistent on trees, and he made sure that there are many species, indigenous species, and one of the commonest, of course, is the East African greenheart. And you know the reason why it is known as the East African greenheart. In the naming of trees, you have genus and species, and very often they identify the species depending on where they encounter the tree the first time, or where it is prevalent. The warburgia ugandensis is very, very prevalent in Uganda, very, very common in Uganda. And therefore, when they were naming it, because it was very common there, they said it is the warburgia as of Uganda. Just like you have the Vitex kenyensis, the Meru oak, because it is very common in the Meru area, Vitex kenyensis. Or just as you have other trees that were first seen at the Cape of Good Hope in Southern Africa. And therefore such trees are kipendacho, meaning of the Cape. There is, for example, a tree that is very common on our campus, and which you find common along the escarpment, the Colendendrum kipendacho, Colendendrum of the Cape, which is the Cape chestnut, and which is very, very common on our campus.
Kuhakikisha ya kuwa yale ambayo anatueleza ni ukweli, kwanza anaanza kupitia kitabu chake aina ya Useful Trees and Shrubs for Kenya kilichoandikwa na Patrick Maundu.
He cannot omit Muthaiga. He calls it, it is also known as the Kenya greenheart. Therefore, either the East African green heart or the Kenya green heart. And he says this is Muruga Gachadi. And Muruga Gachadi was trained at the Kew Gardens in Britain. The Royal Botanical Gardens, Kew, in Britain, and he has this book, the Kikuyu Botanical Dictionary. He says regarding the warburgia ugandensis, evergreen tree up to 25 meters, on that they agree completely, 25 meters. Often much shorter, with blackish rough bark and rounded compact crown of shiny dark green leaves. The flowers are greenish, fruits are egg-shaped and greenish purple when ripe. A tree of the dry forests. But I must add, I have planted it in the Githunguri uplands area at an altitude of 7,200 feet above sea level, which is the equivalent of 2,200 meters, and it is doing very well. Therefore, even in the uplands, it does very well. A tree of the dry forests, bark which is hot to taste, is used to treat chest pains, sore throat, coughs, colds, and tooth and stomachache. And then you folks added that it has been used in the treatment of jiggers, helping people get rid of jiggers. Fruit is used to treat stomach troubles. Wood was used to make special charcoal for smelting. Its wood is able to burn at very, very high temperatures. And therefore, when you want to smelt metal, you use that particular wood because it reaches very high temperatures. The place known as Mudega, we already said that before. There is Mudega in Gatondo, and there is Mudega in Kikuyu, and there is Mudaiga in Nairobi. The tree is also known as Mudaiga. Therefore, they agree. It is known as Mudega, it is known as Mudaiga, it is known as Mudega here, it is known as Mudaiga here. Somebody was disputing, saying that it is not called Mudaiga. It is either Mudega or Mudaiga. It is one of those names where you have equivocation, one or two more names. Same tree that has 5 different names. A very, very interesting tree which is also very medicinal. It is known as Momondo, and the scientific name is Hagenia abyssinica. Momondo, Hagenia abyssinica. Let's just read something about Momondo. It has 5 names, and we can also look at its names in both techniques. Momondo. You see, Momondo, a slender tree to 20 meters tall, with its tree peeling reddish brown bark. Look, it is also known as Mudedeko, that is the second name. It is also known as Mukoropodi, that is the third name. It is known as Muhoru, 4th name. It is also known as Monyogondo in Kikuyu. Hagenia abyssinica, that is another very interesting tree to know. Hagenia abyssinica. Kikuyu, here they have 3 names: Muhoru, Mudedeko, Momondo. In Kipsigis, it is Bondet. In Kisii, it is Omukunakuna. You cannot forget Omukunakuna. In Meru, it has a difficult name, Mujogajoga. In Nandi, it is Jorokwet. In Sabaot, it is Sokorwet.
Tunapofika katika mali yetu ya pili ya mahojiano, bado kasisi yuko mchangamfu na napata kumuuliza bado uhusiano kati ya development studies na uraibu wake wa kupanda mti. Kutuhakikishia ya kuwa yeye ni kasisi, anatumia mfano kutoka kwa Biblia kutueleza umuhimu wa kutunza mazingira kupitia kupanda mti. Kwa anayemjua kasisi Njoroge, azungumzi tosha bila kumsema juu ya aliyeenda zake Kardinali Maurice Otunga, na haya ni maelezo zaidi.
We are grounded on planet Earth, and we cannot live without the environment. You and I are here at the present moment. In order to live, we must breathe. We need air. We need oxygen. The oxygen we breathe precisely comes from these trees. They are giving out oxygen, which we consume, and then in turn they are taking in carbon dioxide, which we emit. You can already see that connectedness. This tree here releases oxygen, I breathe it, I live, I give out carbon dioxide, and that carbon dioxide then is used by the plants. There is that cycle in human life, and there is that connectedness. And therefore, in our head, you cannot think of development, even socio-economic development and human development, without thinking of the environment. And we must not only preserve the environment, we must enhance it, we must make it better. And one way of doing that is taking care of the indigenous species. There are species that are disappearing, and if they disappear, we as human beings are going to be the poorer for it. And therefore we have a responsibility, we have a duty to take care of the environment. And you see, it is very biblical. The story of God creating the first human beings, where did He place them? He placed them in a garden. If it is a garden, then it had flora and fauna. This is part of flora. Human beings cannot live without gardens, like the Garden of Eden. And one thing I remember, and which is very important, remember the late Maurice Michael Cardinal Otunga, servant of God. When he had an opportunity to do something for the Archdiocese of Nairobi and for the country, he created the Resurrection Garden. And the Resurrection Garden in Nairobi is a place where you not only have infrastructure, its base is indigenous flora, indigenous trees. There are a few exotic ones here and there, but the point is there is no human life as we know it without the flora, without the plants, without the trees.
Father, why warburgia ugandensis in particular? Why do you have love for the tree?
Well, I have a love for indigenous trees in general, and the warburgia ugandensis in particular, the Kenyan greenheart, the East African greenheart, for many, many reasons. First of all, it is very medicinal. In some of the local languages, it is known as mudaiga or mudega. It is mudaiga or mudega in Kikuyu. And that literally translates as medicine. Mudaiga in Nairobi is named after this tree. Mudega in Gatundu and in the Kikuyu Kabete area is named for this tree. This is a tree that is very, very helpful from the point of view of the preservation of the environment, and because it is also very, very medicinal. One of the practical uses is in the area of oral hygiene. The toothbrush from the warburgia ugandensis is a wonderful toothbrush. It takes care of what is going to harm us. It takes care of bad breath. It takes care of organisms in us that otherwise would be harmful. And it is not only used from that point of view. Experts say that it is useful in connection with illnesses to do with the stomach. And you yourself have told me that there are parts in this country where people have been able to enhance their health, especially by getting rid of jiggers because of the use of the products from the East African greenheart, the Kenyan greenheart, the warburgia ugandensis. And therefore, it is simply a wonderful tree. To conclude, it is one of the best medicinal trees we have, not only in this country, but as we read earlier on, Its area of prevalence is from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, down south to South Africa. And therefore, we must do whatever we can in order to plant as many of the warburgia ugandensis as we possibly can. We are going to be the richer and the happier for it, and there is not a doubt about it.
Thank you very much, Father.
Yeah.
Another question is that we stated earlier that the tree itself originates from Uganda. May you explain to us how it got into Kenya?
We do not know for sure that it originated from Uganda.
Yeah.
What happens in the naming of the trees is they give the name of the genus and of the species. As we have said, you will find the warburgia ugandensis in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, in Rwanda, in Burundi, in Uganda, in Kenya, in TZ, in Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa. All those places. It is named as the warburgia ugandensis because scientists that named it took the name of an area where it is common, where it is prevalent, and that is common practice. Take for instance the Vitex keniensis, the Meru oak. It is so named because it is prevalent, it is very, very common in the Meru area. Therefore, it is possible that it originated from Uganda. It could have originated from the Congo forest. It could have originated from some other place. But the truth of the matter is, at the present moment, it is to be found in all those countries in the area of tropical Africa. But it is very prevalent, very, very common in Uganda, the warburgia ugandensis. He would teach me about indigenous trees, and he would ask me, Joroge, do you know the name of that tree? I would tell him, I do not know its name. And he would tell me, the name of that tree is Mudega or Mudeiga. He would teach me the local indigenous name. And then he would wait for a day or two, and he would ask me, Joroge, what did we say is the name of that tree? And he never taught me the names of 2 or 3 trees per day. It would be one day, one tree, or one tree in 2 days. And therefore I developed an interest in indigenous trees. And then he had a very interesting policy. And his policy was, if you cut down a tree, you planted one other tree, preferably even 2 others. And therefore I have done interested in indigenous trees from the very beginning. And then that interest was enhanced because one of my childhood friends is Professor Stephen G. Juguna of Kenyatta University. He has taught in various universities, including the University of Nairobi and including the University of California, San Barbara. And he is a naturalist. He is interested in matters of trees. Therefore, as young boys growing up, I taught him the names of the indigenous trees, the indigenous names, and he taught me the scientific names. And therefore, we learned from each other. I had learned the indigenous names from my grandfather. I taught them to him, and he had learned the scientific names from Kejabi High School, where he went to school, and he taught me the scientific names. And therefore I have had an interest in indigenous trees from my youth. And then later on, my parents gave me a small piece of land somewhere, and I began planting indigenous trees, and therefore I have quite a plantation of indigenous trees, an arboretum in Gilongori, Gitiha uplands, the Kamba area, and I have continued being interested.
Kama anavyoeleza kasisi Profesa Lawrence Njoroge, kwa kuwa mti huu una manufaa nyingi tu sisi kama binadamu, kama tumepata kujua ya kuwa mti wa ubungo wa ugandensis inatumika kama dawa ya meno. Sisi kama binadamu na wasi kutunza mazingira, hasa mti ambayo ina manufaa kwetu sisi kama mti kama huu wa mbugwa ugandensis. Mimi wako Mboya Victor Omondi.